Alright guys, so now that we have Postgres installed, we're going to start to implement it with our Django app. Okay, now to use Postgres, we need to define our parameters in the settings file, but we also need to install a couple packages using pip so that it can basically like drivers to connect to Postgres. So make sure you're in your venv or whatever you call your virtual environment, and let's do a pip install, and we're going to do its psycopg2. So we want to install that, and then we also want to do that same thing but dash binary. Okay, so we want to install those two packages. I'm going to clear this up, and then we're going to go to settings.py and go down to, actually let me make this smaller. We're going to go down to where it says database, our databases, and this is where we want to set up all of our parameters, okay, including the driver, including the username, password, things like that. So first of all, we want to change this SQLite 3 to PostgreSQL, and then for the name, we're going to get rid of this, and we just want to put what we called our database, which was BT REDB. Okay, then we also want to add the user, which in my case at least is Postgres, and then we want the password. Okay, so my password, I just use 1 through 6, and then we also want to add the host, which is going to be our local host. Okay, so let's save that. And by the way, my Django server is still running. If I go to my other tab here, you'll see my Django server is still running. Now, as far as this message right here, you guys saw this a long time ago when we first started the server. Basically, we have some unapplied migrations, and a migration is a file that tells the database what to do, basically, as far as setting up tables and data columns and data types of each column and stuff like that. And Django has default migrations for things like the admin area for authentication. There's going to be users that have to do with the admin area. That stuff is all set up. Those migration files are set up. They just haven't been run and put into the database. So what we want to do now is basically run those migrations, and once we do that, we won't see this error anymore. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just stop the server here. Let's stop this and clear it up. Now, to basically to migrate, we're going to create our own migrations for like the listings and the realtors and stuff like that. But to run the current migrations that are already ready, like those 15 that were in that message, we just want to say Python manage.py and then migrate. Okay, now if something isn't right with our database, we're going to see an error here. So let's just try it out. Okay, it looks like everything went okay. Okay, so now we can, you could jump into your terminal if you want, or you can jump into pgadmin and reload. And let's take a look under servers, DB server. We're going to look under databases, BTREDB, schemas, public, tables, and look at that. Look at all these tables that have been created. So we have our auth user table, we have our user groups, even our migrations get tracked in the database. They have their own table, groups, permissions. All this Django stuff is now in the tables. Okay, that's exactly what we want. So we know that Postgres is now interacting with our Django application, which is perfect. All right, so let's hop back into VS Code and let's start our server back up. So I'm going to do Python manage.py run server, and now notice we don't see those red errors anymore. Okay, because those migrations have now been applied. So we're now in a great place because we can now start to create our models, our database is connected, and we can start to create our own migrations so that we can create tables for listings and realtors and stuff like that. All right, so we'll get started on that in the next video.